we have why Black Americans vibe so well with South Africans. Bro, I definitely agree with this, bro. I definitely agree with this from the time I learned about South Africa to the time I visited to the time I now live here, low key. A lot in common, bro. A lot in common. Both Black Americans and South Africans have a lot in common. So let's go ahead and check out this video. You new here, hit that sub button, like the video. Let's check it out. Link to this vid will be in the description as well, guys.
1989, South Africa was in complete turmoil. They were on the verge of a civil war, and they had more sanctions than they could deal with. And you probably think they had sanctions because of apartheid. That's partly true. But see, South Africa was at war with the ANC, who was at that time not even a political party. They were a rebel group. And the nationalist apartheid party, led by F.W. de Klerk, hated them also. The ANC could not really run its operation in Johannesburg, so it ran its operation everywhere else, in Zambia, in Angola, in Mozambique. And this is where the issue came with South Africa, and that's where all the terrorism happened, in those places. If they wasn't blowing up stuff themselves, they were paying rebel groups to do it, like UNITA in Angola or Renamo in Mozambique. And let's talk about the illegal occupation of Namibia. But in 1989, things were good until that wall came tumbling down. With the end of communism, South Africa no longer had any leverage with the United States because South Africa was anti-communist. But with the communist regime gone, South Africa was out there without a homeboy to depend on. And then there was the chaos going on inside South Africa that just couldn't be denied. Black townships like Soweto and Alexandra were in open rebellion. The apartheid government enforced nationwide states of emergency. The rent and school Boy Scouts rendered many municipalities financially and administratively ungovernable. There was industrial economic paralysis, insurgency and counterinsurgency everywhere.
The crazy thing about this whole thing is, bro, is that this was not long, like this was in 1989. You feel me? I don't know how old you are watching this video, but for me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't born yet, but my sister, you feel me? My mom, like, I couldn't imagine my sister and my mom living through these type of things. You feel me? It's like back in the States when we had segregation and stuff like that. I think my mom was just born when segregation was coming to an end. But like, to have it such, like, it wasn't that long ago, man. Like, our parents, well, not my parents, but people who live in South Africa, parents, or maybe even not even parents, bro. Like, older sisters live through apartheid. Like, they seen these things. That's wild to me, bro.
In other words, South Africa was fucked.
Damn.
But there was a solution. F.W. de Klerk understood that the anti-apartheid regime had to fall, and there was one guy still available to bring the nation back together. The only problem was that guy was a communist and serving a life sentence.
Nelson Mandela.
His name was Nelson Mandela. And in February 1990, after serving 27 years in prison, Nelson Mandela was free.
I stand here before you not as a prophet, but as a humble servant of you, the people.
Now, Nelson Mandela is now a free man, but the issue is, in America, he's still known as a communist and possibly a threat to the states. But this would all be fixed because now the ANC is no longer a militia group. It will now become a political party. But the second issue is the ANC is broke. And just because the Nationalist Party let Nelson Mandela out to basically appease the United States government and to get some sanctions lifted, it doesn't mean that the Nationalist government was going to give the ANC any money. They would have to do that themselves. And F.W. de Klerk understood that he had to save South Africa by, one, letting Nelson Mandela out of prison, and by two, allowing him to go to the United States to raise money for the ANC. Because remember, a lot of stuff was going on in South Africa. A lot of businesses left South Africa, and a lot of talented whites took their capital and fled South Africa, going to countries like England, the United States, Australia, and the like. So who did Nelson Mandela decide to come see? He did come and see the president, but Nelson Mandela spent a lot of time in Black America. And in June 1990,
he's geared right there. I ain't gonna hold you. My guy is geared right there.
Pull up to New York City. He would meet David Dinkins. He became the first Black person to hold this position in the city. Then he would go to Washington, D.C. and have talks with President George Bush, but he would go to other few places, Black Boston.
Bro, that's so crazy to me. Imagine serving a what did they say, a 30-year life sentence to becoming one of the most iconic people in the world. Now you're traveling the world. You're in the United States. You're meeting all these, you know what I'm saying? These historic figures. Bro, I just not too long ago, fam, he was sitting in a cell. Now he's,
go to Atlanta, Georgia and speak at Morehouse College. He would go to Detroit, Michigan. He would go to Miami, Florida. And of course, he would make a stop in Los Angeles and then Oakland, California. This tour was from June 20th, 1990 to I believe July 1st, 1990. So the question is, how would it turn out? Well, Mandela would raise over $5 million. And who would give money? Well, everyday people.
Hold on. 5 mil?
How would it turn out? Well, LA
1.2. Detroit 1.1. Hey, Detroit was in there, wasn't they? New York, $1 mil. Boston, 600,000. Oakland, Cal, 400,000. Atlanta, 300,000. Washington, D.C., 250,000. And Miami, 150,000. They could have did better than that. 150,000, man. He probably didn't spend a lot of time in Miami, though. He probably spent most of his time up there in them first three up there, for sure. I'm surprised Atlanta should be, I feel like Atlanta's a little low.
Mandela would raise over $5 million. And who would give money? Well, everyday people, everyday Americans, particularly Black Americans who viewed Mandela as a global symbol of.
Why he low-key kind of look like Obama right here, though? Low-key, y'all. Hear me out. Low-key, he look like an old Obama right here. Like, he could be Obama granddad.
Liberation, bought tickets to his rallies, concerts, and benefit events, and purchased merchandise. Institutions like Morehouse College in Atlanta coordinated massive academic and civic receptions, anchoring the intellectual and cultural fundraising network of the tour. Many Black churches, community coalitions came through as well. Now, most importantly, the United Auto Workers and trade unions came through and provided critical financial and structural backing. And you will have artists and performers at these rallies, such as Stevie Wonder, Spike Lee, Harry Belafonte, Tracy Chapman, Anita Baker, Natalie Cole, Bill Cosby. Influential people made sure that Nelson Mandela got his money. Now, Nelson Mandela would go to Europe right after that, but none of the money that he raised in Europe was nothing in comparison to what happened in America, especially through Black America.
You damn right.
Now, in 1994, Nelson Mandela would officially become the president of South Africa. And how would Nelson Mandela repay Black America?
Let me remind y'all. My nigga went from 30 years life sentence to president of a country. Well, that's wild. I think in the United States, if you go to prison, if you have that, you're not allowed to become president or anything like that.
Okay. Well, Nelson Mandela would make good on his promise with giving Black Americans an opportunity in South Africa. Through the Congressional Black Caucus and the ANC invitation networks, we would see that high-level Black Americans would get major opportunities in South Africa. And there was a documentary released in 2008 about a few of these Black Americans that showed up in South Africa in the early 90s. And I want to give a shout out to some of these people who still live there. I want to start with this brother by the name of Charles Henderson. He graduated from Harvard University School of Business, but decided to leave corporate America to start a program called LEAD, and he helped many South Africans overcome the abuse of apartheid.
One of the first things I recognized when I got to South Africa was that there was a big need for the work that I do, which to a large extent focuses on helping people to build their self-esteem and confidence to accomplish whatever it is that they're trying to do in life.
Then there was James C. Prevost out of San Francisco, California, who decided to come to South Africa and develop the stand-up comedy business and also participate in real estate investing, which he's doing right now to this day, I believe, in Tanzania. And this was some of the stuff he was doing in Johannesburg.
So now the city has decided they want to claim it back and renovate.
Is that Long Street?
Bring it back to where it was 10, 15 years ago.
Oh,
I believe in this area so much, and which is why I own a property portfolio in this area, because I want to be part of the turnaround and the regentrification of the area.
And then we had talented practitioners such as Cora Vaughn, who was from Chicago, Illinois. And she graduated from Texas Southern School of Law in 1977 and had one of the top firms in the Chicagoland area.
I practiced law for 25 years, started very young. I had a very successful law practice, probably one of the most successful black lawyers in Chicago and probably in the States. I was easily pulling down $1 million a year, sometimes much more than that. And it was not hard for me to leave that life, give it up to move to Africa. And people thought I was nuts closing down a law practice like that.
Not only was she a great business person from the black community in South Africa, she died in 2014 at the age of 65 in South Africa.
Dang.
What am I trying to say here? There is a reason why South Africans and Black Americans get along. When you talk about collaboration and being fair, well, I think this is the best example. Now, South Africa couldn't give Black America the same thing dollar for dollar, but what they could give us is what they had. And people did go to South Africa and it didn't work out, but it did work out for many people. And people invested in farms, people invested in land, people invested in homes, people invested in tourism. And what we got was a brotherhood from that relationship. And that's why when you hear about South Africans and Black Americans, you never hear any kind of beefs, you never hear any kind of bad blood. Why? Because whatever they had, they gave to us, and whatever we had, we gave to them. We're not saying that it's perfect, but that is proof that two communities can work together even if they don't have the exact same thing. It shows you that the Ubuntu principle that should
Come on, I was waiting for him to say that. I got it tatted on my neck. You feel me?
be working on the continent of Africa.
I was waiting for him to say that.
Between us, and we seem to have a good relationship with them, not because of what we've been through, but because of how we've treated them and because of how we've treated us. And I believe that the relationship between South Africans and Black Americans might be even stronger than the relationship that Southern Africans have with certain people around their region. I believe it to be stronger than South Africans' relationship with people in West Africa. And that is because when you deal with people, you gotta bring them something. We have something to bring and they have something to bring us. And guess what? They can stay South African and we can stay Black American. And that should give us hope for the future, that you can be in a relationship or bring value to people, even if you don't have the same thing, even if you don't have the same culture,
background,
even if you are different. The main idea is if you want to be valuable to each other. Much love to South Africa. I really respect them for taking in our people, and I'm pretty sure they respect us for the same. And there's a reason why many Black Americans that left to South Africa in the 90s never came back.
Facts. Hey, I moved here and I have not moved back yet, man. He's speaking factuals, bro. Ever since I've been here, you know what I'm saying, it's been love, it's been good relationships, genuine relationships, a lot of Ubuntu, you feel me? I got it tatted on my neck. Bro, perfect video, man. It's perfect to see the history between Black Americans and South Africa. I definitely learned a lot from this video. Hope you guys did too. Link to this vid will be in the description if you guys want to check out my brother's channel. Link to it will be in the description. But hope you guys enjoyed this one. Stay tuned for next for y'all. Peace.